Serious, buffet owners, managers of Reddit, how much food does one need to eat to get their money's worth? Used to work at an all-you-can-eat Chinese place, and in terms of plates you'd have to have at least 8-10 stacked before they'd make a loss. Bear in mind though that many people pile on rice and other cheap bulk food, so this number could rise. In terms of meat, the tray never had that much in it, around 8 servings, and each tray would last for 15-20 servings. The rest was made up of typical veg and tons of sauce to hide the lack of meat. I don't know about the rest of Reddit, but I've definitely made my money. I used to work in NYC and we would regularly go with 2 engines, 12 men, to this Chinese buffet. We thought we would bankrupt them as 12 giant firemen sat down to consume. After several trips and becoming friendly with them, I went in once to drop t-shirts as a sign of good faith. I was told we would get the buffet at cost cause it was good for business to CFDNY there, so when we went back he charged us $5 a man. I objected and say you will lose money. Nope, most damage you do is like $3. Never felt bad after that. I think it depends on what you eat. My cousin is banned from a Chinese place by near me for eating only king crab legs and nothing else. I'm surprised. All the Chinese buffets I've been to usually had a take all you want, but eat what you take and just slapped a fee on if you don't clean your plate, especially ones expensive stuff like crab legs, sushi, etc. I worked at a pizza buffet for over 2 years. The main selling point of the buffet was the low price, $6.25 American. According to my manager, one person would most likely have to eat 3 medium pies in order for us to start losing money, depending on the toppings. They were 12-inch pies, so it's a decent amount of food, about 3 pounds of food, give or take. We also had salad and wings and stuff, but not a lot of people went for those, so he never really talked about it. However, drinks are where we made the most money. To buy a drink there was $1.95. On average you have 2 glasses of pop, which costs us a little less than $0.05. You would have to drink 80 plus glasses of pop in order to break even. That's about 49.9 L of pop, about 3,520 grams of sugar depending on what soda you drink. TL. Dr. Buffets make a killing on drinks. I always say I'm going to profit when I go to Fogo de Chao. Skip the salad and stay focused. Then I eat the cheese bread and I lose all hope after the 5th basket. God dang, that cheese bread is heavenly. Once went to a Chinese buffet in Flagstaff that was $8.50-ish. May have been discounted because we were there for fighting forest fires, but there is no way they made money on us. We had been eating MREs for 5 days straight and all 20 of us wrecked that place. It's customary in the restaurant business to charge 400% of food cost, so your guess on the amounts is probably close to accurate. Source: I'm a professional chef of 13 years. That's impressively young to be a professional chef. To explain before someone asks about the prices I am gonna mention, I'm from the Czech Republic, so stuff is pretty cheap here compared to US. There is an Asian place near where I work where you can eat all that you fit on your plate for about $5. They have typical Asian veggies, sauce, meat mix kind of stuff, as well as some meatballs, onion rings, chicken wings, etc. Just for comparison, usual price for a standard lunch in my country is $6, so this is probably the best value you will get for your money. My guess is that if you calculate in costs of personnel, rent, etc., they aren't really making any money on the food. Their average margin is probably close to zero, but everyone takes a drink with their food. BC, it is almost impossible to eat the amount of food you can heap on your plate without drinking. The drink is probably like $1.20 in the post-mix. Sodas cost next to nothing to produce, so even though their margin is 0% on the food, they probably make like 90% margin on the drink, and thus the whole order stays profitable. If you go during seafood nights at cheap buffets, $10-15, and load up on king crab legs, oysters, then you can get your money's worth in several plates. If you get things such as red meat and seafood, it would only take about 3 plates to get your money's worth if we say the buffet was $15. My brother's rugby team used to go to Olive Garden and get the never-ending pasta bowls to carb load, do the team spirit thing before big matches. They became so notorious for the mass quantities eaten at that location that the waitstaff would reserve the team's table under Piggy's and draw little curly-tailed Piggy on their bill. One year they won the championship and gave the owner a pink china piggy bank with a rugby sweater painted on. Whenever my dad gets Chinese takeout at a buffet, he shapes the food to conform to the styrofoam container and packs it all in, and then also gets a separate small cup of beef and broccoli. The cashier hostess always gives him an odd look when they see how heavy the container is. We cook our own rice at home and just get the good stuff from the restaurant. By doing that, then for about $7, we can feed 7 people, a family of 4, and then 3 more meals for whomever the next day. You need to eat until you are full. Unless you didn't mean how much does one need to eat to be satisfied with the price of the meal. If by get their money's worth you meant the same cost as you purchasing the food and preparing cooking it yourself, then it would be 3 to maybe 5 plates filled with food. If you meant enough to put the restaurant into the red, then it would be 9 or 10 plates filled with meats and or other high cost items. Every year I go to Red Lobster for their all-you-can-eat shrimp fest. I always try and eat as much as I can. They always push the shrimp past on me and I obviously always refuse. Just stick to the scampi the best you can. To get the most bang for your buck you have to just keep stuffing your face with shrimp and don't stop. Red Lobster knows this and the servers will make you wait for your next plate of shrimp after about your 4th plate. They always say that the kitchen is really backed up or something along those lines. My record in one sitting is 182. I had an awesome server who knew what I was trying to do and was totally cool with it. He kept them coming and I didn't stop eating. It was awesome. It seems like you are comparing this to the food you would buy at a grocery store, but keep in mind a buffet is a restaurant. Also keep in mind that you can't compare grocery store costs with those of a restaurant. You also have to consider the amount of time it would take you to prepare the food yourself. Also consider the service, other stuff you would need, spices, sauces, oils, etc. Basically this is an uneven comparison. The better method would be to compare a buffet with another restaurant of comparable class and style to the buffet, i.e. high-end buffet with comparably high-end restaurant, or vice versa. So where I live a buffet dinner costs approx 1.5x that of a restaurant meal. So I would need to eat over 1.5 meals worth of food at a traditional restaurant to get my money's worth. I own a small restaurant which obviously isn't a buffet, but I have an idea of how much food costs. If you're looking purely at trying to get your money's worth as far as food goes, I glanced at my food providers list and I can get a steak for $3.5 a pound, so if your buffet $12 you'd need to eat about 4 pounds. However, in all honesty, even if you eat 2 pounds you're probably eating more than they assume you're going to and are affecting their profit. For everything on my menu my food cost is anywhere between 20-30%, so my $8 burger $2.66 is for the food itself, $2.66 for payroll, $2.6. I worked at a Golden Corral for years. It costs about $12.50 to get in to eat there, and each guest cost us at the time about $10.80. That includes food, labor, lights etc. of the $12.50 they pay. This was a few years ago and we had shrimp and most of the stuff they still have now. However, those are razor thin profit margins, so it was all about getting more people in the door. They're only making $1.70 on each person. But if someone came in and ate 3 pounds of steak, not only do they take their $1.70 profit from us, they take the next 2 people's $1.70 potential profit from us. Beef often costs us 99 cents to $1.29 a pound, but if something happens in the market and price goes up, then it comes out of the $1.70. That is why Golden Corral advertise like crazy. They need you in there. They need to turn tables like crazy to make profit. This is going to sound like a snarky answer, but I am serious. Whatever amount of food makes you feel happy and satisfied is exactly the amount you should consider as getting your money's worth. Going out to eat is not about quantity, it's about enjoyment. If you are eating at an all-you-can-eat place solely based on the monetary aspect, you should really just purchase cheap bulk food instead and get more money's worth. Going out to eat is not about quantity, it's about enjoyment. But eating a painfully huge amount is enjoyment for me. It depends how you define your money's worth. Do you mean your money's worth in terms of if you had just ordered a meal instead of the all-you-can-eat special? Or your money's worth in that you ate enough to where the company made zero profit off of you coming to all-you-can-eat night? For example, the Hooters near my house sells 10 wings for $7.99. Wednesdays are all-you-can-eat night for $12.99 and they serve you in ray orders of 10 wings. So by the time you've eaten 2 plates or 20 wings you've saved $2.99. So you've definitely gotten your money's worth in terms of I was going to Hooters tonight anyway. Now Hooters themselves probably pays about 20 cents a wing, figuring they're paying about $2 a lb for chicken and getting somewhere around 10 wings per lb. This is not including the cost to make any sauce or breading and labor, so it's probably more. So if they were charging you $12.99 you'd have to eat about 65 wings or 6.5 ray orders for them to lose money on you. There is this place I go to in Toronto called Spoon and Fork. I am sure they have similar places elsewhere, but basically it's all you can eat but not buffet style. So you order food, they bring it, and you order more if you want. I find after 1 or 2 large orders they start forgetting to bring certain dishes or accidentally bringing you ones that you didn't order, usually with a lot of rice. They also start coming to your table less frequently as you eat more. In addition, expensive stuff like salmon usually comes in really small dishes, which is okay, but when you order an item with cheap stuff like rice and noodles they come in large portions. You can't eat enough to make a buffet owner lose profit. I knew the owner of a Chinese buffet restaurant and he claimed it was basically impossible to eat enough. Amusingly enough, he once told me he caught someone putting buffet food into diapers at a table. Apparently that was the best method that person could come up with to smuggle food out. Cook management here. We generally charge you 3 times the base cost of the food. That will give us still profit while taking into account bills. So if your buffet was $20 a person, you'd need to eat about more than $7 worth of raw food. I'm not an owner, but I work at this place in RI called the Nordic Lodge. Costs $90 to get in, so about 2 steaks and 3 lobsters and a couple of crab legs with at least 1 slice of cake, you should be alright. You have to come ready to eat like a house, otherwise I would suggest a normal eatery. An acquaintance of mine and his circle of friends are all really big guys and are banned from every single buffet in their hometown Malmö, which is the 3rd biggest city in Sweden with about 650,000 people in the metropolitan area. Every single buffet, let's just say they got the bang for their buck. There's a $75 buffet at an expensive hotel by me, and unless they're getting a crazy under the table price on caviar, I'm pretty sure I'm coming away at a profit. Caviar, crab legs, oysters and berries. I work for a university food service. Now the place I work at is not all you care to eat, however I know a lot of colleagues that work at that type of place. Typically they cost out the door price to be about 28 to 35% food cost, meaning that if you ate 3 to 4 plates of food, you got your money's worth. Here's how they trick you into not eating your fair share. 1. Smaller plate sizes and cup sizes. The more work you have to do to get more food, the smaller chance you will. 2. Buffet design. When you go through the buffet, the meat will be at the end. You would have most likely filled your plate up with inexpensive sides and salads by the time you got to the meat, that you don't have room. 3. Good desserts. Desserts have really good food cost percentages. So if you think, hey, I should get another plate of meat pasta, but hey, that is a really dessert, I'm going to get that instead. Boom, cash. 4. Pizza. We make good money on pizza. 5. Asian dishes. A deli sandwich will have 4 ounces of protein, whereas a rice dish will have about 2. The rice fills you up too. 6. Pasta dishes. Same concept as rice dishes. 7. Beverages. Water is the most profitable. Coffee is next. Fountain soda is next. You milk drinking bastards kill us. I wanted this to be a top 10 list, but that's all I can think of. Every single time we hit a buffet, we'd always take my friend Morris. Morris was 6'11", about 415. Morris could eat unlike no other man I have ever seen. He was a bottomless pit. We took him because he'd often get kicked out of all-you-can-eat buffets. When this occurred, he'd demand free exit passage for not only himself, but for us as well, and they always agreed. We'd go lift weights for like 4 hours straight and then go seek to more as much food as humanly possible so we wouldn't really have to eat for the next 18-24 hours. Because quality protein is usually pretty expensive, even in powder form. Some buffet records I bore witness to that he destroyed. Boston Market, over 40 pieces of chicken plus multiple sides over a 3-hour period before we were asked to leave. Brighton Sushi Buffet, 11 lunch trays filled overflowing with sushi and hibachi noodles. Asked to leave after about 4 hours. Windsor Dim Sum, $30 all you can eat dim sum. We were asked to leave after they delivered, and we decimated about 60 plates to our table. McCormick and Schmick's. On Fridays, they used to have a $50 all-you-could-eat raw bar. I'm pretty convinced they no longer have it, because we used to get thrown out routinely, and our money refunded, after we crushed about 12 dozen oysters apiece. Crazy Does Pizza, $12.99 Tuesday night pizza buffets. We were kicked out almost every week and refunded after we cleaned out about 10 fully loaded pizzas among our usual group 4 or 5 guys, of which Morris could eat about 5-6. If we think about the economic concept of sunk costs, it really doesn't make sense to stuff yourself to the point of feeling sick of throwing up. Once you paid for the buffet, that money is gone. They are not going to give you the money back if you eat 50 pounds of food. The money we spent on the buffet is a sunk cost and can't be recovered. Really, just eat as much as you want. It doesn't make sense stuffing yourself until you feel sick or throw up. I rather just eat what I can and be satisfied. It isn't worth it to stuff yourself, throw up, and gain more pounds. It isn't healthy. I'm sure restaurants manage to find a price for their buffet that will allow them to make the profit even with a few people trying to eat the system. Although the next time you see your favorite buffet raise their prices, it might be because someone had to ruin it for the rest of us. Just eat as much as you can of whatever you like. There's a local buffet that has some fantastic potatoes au gratin, and I always eat a lot of that. My partner gets angry because she thinks it's a waste of time, but it's so good that I don't care. If you go to a buffet to get your money's worth, you're doing it wrong. Late to the party, but whatever. I run a restaurant where we do a Sunday brunch buffet every week. The cost of the food we put on it runs 41%. It's comprised mostly of fat kid food filled with butter and heavy cream, and we even have an all-you-can-eat choice cut prime rib station. With this reasoning, it would take somewhere in the range of 3-4 plates per person to post a loss. However, with the richness of all the food we put out, most people can't finish one plate. Simple rules for eating at a buffet. Here's what you do at a buffet. You pay for one plate of food. Every other plate is free, and that includes dessert. You go, you load the plate up, no bread, no salad. That's just taking up valuable stomach real estate meant for the actual food, and you scarf that stuff down. Then, repeat, and repeat again. At least 3 plates of food. And when I say scarf, I mean scarf. Man. Eat fast, eat first, taste is secondary, then 1 or 2 rounds of dessert. You don't leave a buffet until you're pretty sure you've hurt yourself somehow. An easy rule of thumb is to double or triple the price of food. Assume this goes to all the operational costs of the business. Prices are in NZD. For example, let's say you buy beef at $10-15 a kg. The restaurant probably gets a discount and does that at, let's say, $8 a kg. Now double or triple this, you get $16-24 per kg of meat. I don't know about you, but if it costs $30-40 for a buffet, I'd have to say you have to eat a lot. Cause when was the last time you ate 1 kilogram of pure meat? So this is probably one of the worst case scenarios. I used to work at a casino in Indiana with a massive buffet. We used to comp a lot of people, because the cost to the casino is $2.76 per person. So even at $5, they're still almost doubling. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.